Hey, I'm Scott Clancy, leader and coach. I think the world needs better leaders and coaches. I want to learn how to be both. Today, I want to talk about idea building. Idea building, I think, is divided into two parts: vision and structure. The reason why I think it's divided into two parts is I think that the words idea building, idea is visionary, and building, like a structure, like a building, it has a framework. Okay, so let's talk about vision. Many people get blocked when they say, okay, I have to have a big vision. I know I did. I mean, it's a creative process to have a vision. But by providing some structure around how we think about vision building, I think we can go through this creative process and provide a framework that those of us who struggle perhaps with having intuitive vision or intuitive creativity can have that vision. So first thing you have to do is you have to believe that you can have visionary ideas and that the process you go through is going to work. Start with what you know and what you don't know. Start after that by taking those things you know and don't know as the initial framing of the situation and go all the way to the end. Where in a utopian idea do you want to be? End state from a military perspective. But know how. Know how are we going to get to there? No feasibility with respect to that. These things will connect up where you are now and where you want to be in the long term. A couple of tips in vision building. First thing I would say is find a partner. I had a great buddy of mine when I was going through staff college, and we would work together whenever we were in different positions. And I would say, I'm thinking about this, yeah, but that. And it was always like being part of a improv routine. You're always adding to, yes and, yes and, yes and. We used to call it ping pong planning. And the intellect addition was greater than the sum total of both of our brains put together. And then use cool tools. Whiteboards. I used to love whiteboards. You can write on them. And funny enough, you can take pictures of them and share them with your teams. Electronic whiteboards are cool because you can put ideas around and then you can move them around. I like cue cards. My wife bought me these huge 3M stickies, and then I have little stickies that put on it because my next thing is going to be talking about the structure that we have to provide. And those tools will help you translate that into structure. So when we're out here at the end state, we've got some cool tools that have enabled some of these ideas and visions that are a little bit airy-fairy with respect. Now you start breaking down your end state. Now you start working backwards, taking these, using the tools that you have to say, okay, if I break this down, what are the subcomponents in that? What does that have to be? Because now you're starting to bridge into the how-to. But you're starting with a utopian idea that you have to remain clean to. That's what ties two ends together. And then you use the tools to juxtapose the various elements you start putting together. If it's cue cards, I like laying them down on the floor and then I move them around like this, or if it's on an electronic whiteboard, I'll drag this over here. You can even put a timeline along if it's something that's, helps with your framing, and start moving those things back and forth along the timeline. That's how we do operational planning in the military, as you start to juxtapose the various elements and the sequencing of how they have to be synchronized to achieve that end state. This will allow you to find coherence, and you look for coherence on various lines or, in the main idea that flows through. And you'll come to these aha moments. Hey, this is really about, this is a sideline. Okay, this is the supporting element. To do this, we're going to have to do this. Yes, I can see how that applies to this. And it'll also allow you to step back and look at whether you've drifted from what you knew on the front end, the things that inspired you in the front end to go through this creative process, that creative utopian idea at the tail end, so that you have coherence across all those lines. And I'm Scott Clancy. If you like what you see, go to www.coachesneed2lead.com. We'll connect up. You and me, we know we need better leaders and coaches. Let's try to be both.